Good evening, God bless you.
Thank you, too.
What is the end game of the tsunami of debt this nation faces?
Well, I always say this, when you're in a hole, the first thing you have to do is stop digging. And right now we're looking at a $1.2+ trillion deficit, not debt, deficit. And that's borrowing, according to the most recent thing I've seen, about 42 cents of every dollar we borrow to pay for government. So what I've said is that, let's get that under control. We got to get the economy growing. If you don't get the economy growing, you're not going to balance the budget. I mean, it's just too hard. And so you have to get economic growth because that increases revenue and decreases expenditures, which is the biggest way to bridge that gap. And then you have to deal with the structural deficit, which is basically entitlement spending. And we haven't talked a lot about that tonight. I've, like I said, spent a long time talking about these issues today and other places. I was in Sun City. We talked a lot about entitlement programs. But we have to have a president who's willing to go out there and be honest with the American public of what the fundamental problems are in this country. If we were in Greece, if we were Greece or a European country, the EU would put us on an austerity program because our debt to GDP ratio is as bad as some of the worst countries in Europe. But we have a president, because he can print money, just goes along as if there's no problem. Well, it's going to be a problem. We're going to pay for this at some point. And you think about, it's a heavy word to use, but I think it fits the immorality of a society. Borrowing 42 cents, consuming, over-consuming, to the tune of 40 cents of every dollar. And then saying, stand up, kids. You're going to pay the interest on this the rest of your life because we simply cannot live within our means. And your quality of life is going to be less because we have chosen to live beyond our means. How many people feel good about that? And so when we say, well, you're going to be tough and you're going to, how can you cut these things because people are going to get hurt? People are going to get hurt. It's just, you don't have political courage to do the things that are necessary to make those changes. Well, I've been out talking to seniors in Sun City about changing Social Security and actually doing some things now. People say, well, how can you do that? I did. I walked through it all. And I said, what about this and what about that? Anybody disagree? No hand raised. None. There are things we can do that we can form broad consensus and get done now. There's some things that are a little tougher we can get done a little farther down the road. Things a little tougher that we'll take it to get done a little farther down the road. And we'll work our way into this. But we can't wait. We can't put off. The Paul Ryan plan says, oh, we'll fix things in 10 years. We can't wait 10 years. We don't have 10 years to wait. And we have to have someone who's honest enough with the American public that says, here's the problem. And tell the truth. And if we do that, then I think we'll have the American public not as divided as we think. I don't think America is nearly as divided. I know we got to go. America is nearly as divided. So America's not as nearly as divided as you think. And my wife and I are not divided at all. And she wanted to remind me, and she came up and she said, Rick, remind them that you ran 5 elections and you won 4 of them. And you won we won this way. We went out and talked to people, told them the truth, knocked on doors, did town hall meetings forever. That's what we did in Iowa. That's what we're going to do here in South Carolina. We're going to trust the people. Empower you. Empower you to walk out of this room. And if you walk out of this room and say, I'm going to vote for Rick Santorum, that's great. It's not enough. It's not enough. It's not enough. The difference we made in winning Iowa, and I think we won Iowa, winning Iowa, was that people walked out that door and they took a sign, they took lapel stickers, they took bumper stickers, they went out and talked to their friends and neighbors, they went out to church and talked to them, they went to the grocery store and wore the lapel sticker, and they engaged as citizens in trying to promote freedom in America. They fought for it. You got 10 days, 8 days, whatever it is. 9, okay. You got 9 days. You have 9 days where you can make a difference in the future of your country. If you feel like we're the right candidate to stand up against Obama, then you owe it to yourself, your children, and your grandchildren to do everything you can to do what our founders did for freedom. They sacrificed their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honor. No one is asking you to sacrifice your lives. Now, your fortune, on the other hand. RickSantorum.com. And I say this in all seriousness. If you are giving out of need, I don't want you. But if you have excess, what greater gift can you give to your children than freedom? Participating in the process of maintaining a country that you were given and enriched so much in your life. That's what I'm asking you to do. Go out there and put on that cloak of citizenship and go out and fight for your country over the next 10 days. You fight to be first in the South. Lead. Lead. Lead this country and be bold. Thank you, guys.